Hey, 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 welcome. Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here with the number one fear, the number one most common, most insidious fear that we as human beings experience. Do you know what that is? Can you guess what that is? Well, it's the fear of poverty. The fear of poverty, again, these are the 6 major fears as defined by Napoleon Hill back in 1937 when he wrote Think and Grow Rich. The 6 fears that he lists, and he likes to say that this is the order of frequency, at least at his time, and I would contend probably just as true today, are fear of poverty, fear of criticism, fear of ill health, fear of loss of the love of someone, fear of old age, and fear of death. Now, I want to take and talk about each of these in depth for each of the next 5 or 6 days so that we can discuss them. We talked about the devil's workshop and negative influence and the impact negative influences around us have on us yesterday. And today I want to talk about the fear of poverty. I believe that the fear of poverty touches almost all of us in the world, on the planet. Of the 7 billion people, I would imagine that 6.9999 and how many ever nines people are or have been touched by the fear of poverty at some time in their life. I know that I have, and I really have no reason to have the doubts and fears and worries that so many other people have about money. My life has been pretty blessed, and my parents worked really hard, and my sisters and I never really had to want for anything. And as an adult, the same is true. I've always been able to take care of myself and provide for myself and my family. So where does this fear of poverty come from? I want to read a couple of excerpts from Think and Grow Rich because I think they're so powerful and they're so true today that it's really incredible. And the impact that poverty has on all of us, it's almost unimaginable how affected we are both on the conscious level and the subconscious level when it comes to poverty. Riches and poverty travel 2 roads in opposite directions. And the fear of poverty is just a state of mind. It's just a belief like so many other things. And because it is just a state of mind and thoughts and beliefs, we have 100% control over and the ability to eliminate this fear from our life and make it so that it has no power or influence over us from this day forward, if we so choose. The fear of poverty, again, it's just a state of mind. Nothing else. It's just something that we think and we believe, and we've been surrounded by it for so long. And we may have experienced true times of poverty in our lives. Remember, Think and Grow Rich was written coming right out of the Great Depression. And so a lot of Napoleon Hill's time and study was done during the Great Depression. And that's part of why he decided to write about riches, thinking and growing rich. I mean, success, the book is really about success, and it's about success in any area of our lives, but he chose money and riches because it was of such a huge importance at the time that he was writing the book, and he knew that people had lost their faith and lost their hope and were despondent about poverty and lack of the things that they needed to just exist in their lives. And it had such a profound impact on them that he wanted to do something that could positively impact the most people possible. The way to overcome the fear of poverty is demand riches for yourself. Decide and don't tolerate poverty or lack or scarcity in your life. Number 2, know exactly what form you want the riches to come to you in. And 3, know how much you want and you are required to meet your needs and your desires. Be specific. Pick a number. If you need $1 million, say, I need $1 million. I'm going to get it by creating a bar or restaurant, or I'm going to get it by creating a new product or service. I'm going to get it by creating an online business. I'm going to get it by providing services and coaching. I'm going to write a book. I'm going to win the lottery. Whatever it is for you, decide how much you need and how much is required to make you happy. Decide with 100% certainty that you will have that, and then turn off all options to not have it. burn those bridges, I guess. I want to read a section about this because it's the fear of poverty. The fear paralyzes the faculty of reason, destroys the faculty of imagination, kills off self-reliance, undermines enthusiasm, discourages initiative, leads to uncertainty of purpose, encourages procrastination, wipes out enthusiasm, and makes self-control an impossibility. It takes the charm from one's personality, destroys the possibility of accurate thinking, diverts concentration of effort. It masters persistence, turns the willpower into nothingness, destroys ambition, beclouds the memory, and invites failure in every conceivable form. It kills love and assassinates the finer emotions of the heart, discourages friendship, and invites disaster in 100 forms, leads to sleeplessness, misery, and unhappiness. And all this despite the obvious truth that we live in a world of overabundance of everything the heart could possibly desire, with nothing standing between us and our desires except lack of a definite purpose. Wow. So this fear of poverty has the power to do all those things, even though we live in a universe and a world that is so full of abundance that there is plenty for everyone. No matter what you can imagine and what you desire and how much you desire, you can have it. But we're inundated with this fear and this belief that we don't deserve, we're not good enough, or somebody else can do it, but we can't. And that's all complete and utter nonsense. The fear of poverty, and this is a really powerful thing too, the fear of poverty is, without doubt, the most destructive of the 6 basic fears. It has been placed at the head of the list because it is the most difficult to master. Considerable courage is required to state the truth about the origin of this fear, and still greater courage to accept the truth after it has been stated. The fear of poverty grew out of man's inherent tendency to prey upon his fellow man economically. Wow. Nearly all animals lower than man are motivated by instinct, but their capacity to think is limited. Therefore, they prey upon one another physically. Man, with his superior sense of intuition, with the capacity to think and to reason, does not eat his fellow man bodily. He gets more satisfaction out of eating him financially. Man is so avaricious that every conceivable law has been passed to safeguard him from his fellow man. That is the basic reason so many people fear poverty, because other people, other human beings have made it their business to destroy others financially. That's gruesome. That's, it is the way it is, but boy, is that scary. And this is funny. Of all the ages of the world of which we know anything, the age in which we live seems to be one that is outstanding because of man's money madness. Now, who can't say that about today? Isn't that more true today than it was in 1937? Look at all this Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, different financial things I don't even understand that are going around, and people are just, going crazy over. There is an example of money madness. It's, worse than the old gold rush days. But it's no wonder man fears poverty. Through a long line of inherited experiences, man has learned for sure that some men cannot be trusted where matters of money and earthly possessions are concerned. This is rather stinging, the worst part of it being that it is true. Ever so true. 6 symptoms. Napoleon Hill goes on to describe the 6 symptoms of fear of poverty, and I call it FOP, fear of poverty. There's 6 symptoms. I'm going to read these and ask yourself as I'm reading them, do you experience or are you experiencing any of these symptoms? The 6 symptoms are indifference, indecision, doubt, worry, overcautiousness, and procrastination. Now, isn't it interesting to note that all 6 of these are also on the top 30 causes of failure? If we're thinking about the reasons that people fail, every single one of these is on the top causes of failure, because Fear in any way, shape, or form is one of the major causes of failure. If we're afraid of something, we're not going to do what we need to do to move toward what it is that we want and find success in that. So indifference, are you exhibiting any symptoms of fear of poverty in the form of indifference? Commonly expressed through lack of ambition, willingness to tolerate poverty, acceptance of whatever compensation life may offer without protest, mental and physical laziness, lack of initiative, imagination, whether it be lack of imagination, lack of enthusiasm, and lack of self-control. Are you experiencing any of these symptoms in your life now, or have you in the past? The second major symptom of fear of poverty is indecision, the habit of permitting others to do one's thinking, staying on the fence. Not making a decision is the same as letting other people make a decision for you. The world's going to keep moving and changing whether you choose to participate or not. Things around you will decide for you if you don't decide yourself. Is that a symptom of fear of poverty? Are you experiencing that in your life? The third symptom is doubt, generally expressed through alibis and excuses designed to cover up, explain away, or apologize for one's failures, sometimes expressed in the form of envy of those who are successful or by criticizing them. Do you criticize other people that are super successful? Are you making fun of Mark Zuckerberg? Are you making fun of Warren Buffett or Bill Gates or Steve Jobs, who's no longer with us? Are you making excuses or alibis for why you don't have what you want to have, why you can't buy that new car, why you can't afford something, why, any kind of excuse or alibi that you're making? The fourth symptom of fear of poverty is worry. Are you a worrier? Usually expressed by finding fault with others, a tendency to spend beyond one's income, neglect of personal appearance, scowling and frowning, intemperance in use of alcoholic drink, sometimes through the use of narcotics, nervousness, lack of poise, self-consciousness, and lack of self-reliance. Are you experiencing any of those symptoms in your life? If you are, they are a symptom and a sign that the fear of poverty is operating in your life somewhere, and it might be at the subconscious level. And if it is, we want to get to that and knock it out of your life once and for all. The fifth major symptom of fear of poverty is overcaution, being overly cautious. The habit of looking for the negative side of every circumstance, thinking and talking of possible failure instead of concentrating upon the means of succeeding, knowing all the roads to disaster, but never searching for the plans to avoid failure. We've all been in a meeting with somebody like that all they ever point out is the negative. Well, at least I've been in lots of those meetings. Have you? Have you been that person? Waiting for the right time to begin putting ideas and plans into action until the waiting becomes a permanent habit. Remembering those who have failed and forgetting those who have succeeded. Seeing the hole in the donut without seeing the donut. Pessimism, leading to indigestion, poor elimination, auto-intoxication, bad breath, and bad disposition. Interesting if you're having any of those symptoms or signs. And the sixth and final symptom and sign of the fear of poverty operating in your life is procrastination. And I will tell you, I hate to admit it, but this has been a huge problem for me during different times of my life. I've also, had times in my life where I've just floated along with the flow and gone with the flow. I've been in a good corporate job, and I just rolled with it because I thought that's what I was supposed to be doing. But procrastination, the habit of putting off until tomorrow that which should have been done last year. Spending enough time in creating alibis and excuses to have done the job. This symptom is closely related to overcaution, doubt, and worry. Refusal to accept responsibility when it can be avoided. Willingness to compromise rather than put up a stiff fight. Compromising with difficulties instead of harnessing and using them as stepping stones to advancement. Bargaining with life for a penny instead of demanding prosperity, opulence, riches, contentment, and happiness. Planning what to do if and when overtaken by failure instead of burning all bridges and making retreat impossible. Weakness of and often total lack of self-confidence, definiteness of purpose, self-control, initiative, enthusiasm, ambition, thrift, and sound reasoning ability. Expecting poverty instead of demanding riches. Associating with those who accept poverty instead of seeking the company of those who demand and receive riches. Are you having or have you seen any of those symptoms in your life? And then he does a big discussion in Think and Grow Rich about the difference between men and women, which I found fascinating, and how poverty at his time impacted physically the appearance of men, but not so much women. And that poverty showed, you could tell if a man was down and out, even if he was dressed nicely, by the way he carried himself and the way he behaved and walked. And he called it, I believe, a droop. They had a visible droop to their demeanor and appearance, whereas women did not, of the same period, didn't really exhibit that. And so I like to chalk that up, that women are better at handling stress and things, but who knows? He did say something about maybe they just kill themselves, which I found a little disturbing. But all in all, awesome chapter. Great tools and ways of asking yourself and learning about yourself and going back and discovering, am I on the road to riches or am I on the road to poverty? Am I living and accepting things because I think that's the way they have to be, or am I really going after what I want? Whenever we're asking ourselves questions, that is what will lead us to the success that we all deserve and want. That's it for today. Go out, make it an awesome day. Notice if you're exhibiting any of these symptoms or signs of poverty, and then realize that you have the power to stop them just by having a definite purpose and desire, knowing what you're going after, and then shutting the door to poverty, lack, and scarcity. Just say no to it. That in and of itself is enough power to put you on the road to riches. So go for what you want. Go for success in every area of your life, because that's what you're here for and that's what you deserve. And you being the example of achieving what you want in your life is the example and the motivation for other people. And the world definitely needs more of that. See you tomorrow. Bye.